Hi, loves. Welcome back to another episode of Not Overthinking It podcast. I'm Elisabeth, your host, and today we are doing an inauthenticity detox. But first, let's go into our consumption corner, aka things that I've been consuming and loving lately. First and foremost, the Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco album has been on repeat every single day. And I am so happy that they're together. I've been watching their press conferences, their press tour, and I just think they're both so humble and I love to see it. And the music is so good. Specifically, I love Sunset Boulevard. Obviously, that's like the number one song, I think, but it makes me feel so good. Secondly, I am back in my cottage cheese era. I took a break from it. I don't know why. I think I just thought, okay, I'm eating Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt can replace the cottage cheese, but the cottage cheese adds a little bit more flavor. Obviously, it brings the cheese component to the meals. And so I've been eating that in bowls. So I'll do like rice with a meat like chicken or steak, and then cottage cheese and veggies. So good. The last thing on my consumption list has been, instead of lattes, I've been swapping them out for, this is the order, an espresso shot with a splash of milk and some honey. And it's literally $3. Did I already talk about this? I'm sorry, because it's still my obsession and I'm still spreading the word about it. Espresso with milk, a little bit of honey, and it's $3 or something like that instead of $7 to $8 of a latte. Now for our inauthenticity detox. But first, a little story time. So as you know, I am a group fitness coach at the Glute Lab. And prior to becoming a coach there, I was working in medicine at my medical assisting job. And I started going to the classes myself just as a student. And I genuinely loved it. I was going for months after work, before work. I loved the environment there and the class structure. And so I pitched myself to the head coach, or one of the coaches there was only two coaches. And I was like, I know you're looking for a third coach and I would love to have that opportunity. So she had me shadow her. Her and the other coach are what you would imagine a coach would be for a group class setting. They're very outgoing, they're very personable and extroverted and just energetic. And I am very shy. So even my whole life and just even now, public speaking is my number one fear. And just being perceived by a group of people, which is ironic because I do these podcasts and stuff, but it's different, But anyway, so I shadow her and I immediately start getting imposter syndrome. Oh, I don't know if I have the personality for this. I keep it to myself though, and I'm just observing, I'm learning the structure of the class. Then she ends up leaving and I take over her classes. And she had been there for a year or so. So she had built a very hardcore cult following. And these were the religious girls that would go time in and time out just to see her. They loved her class specifically, and I was taking over. Feeling so much pressure, I felt like I needed to be exactly like her. Having there been such a big gap between who I am as a coach and who she is as a coach, and me not even discovering my own coaching style yet, but just thinking that I have to be exactly like her. And even down to the language and the verbiage that she uses. When I was shadowing her, she would say certain phrases and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to say these exact words, and just words that are not natural to me. Calling somebody honey, that's not something that I do, but she did. So the result was, terribly enough, I feel as if everyone in that class had left, and I ended up having 1 to 2 to 3 people sometimes in a class that was supposed to be 14. And this happened for months, and I felt so defeated. I literally thought about quitting. I talked to my best friend about it, one of my best friends, and my roommate. I told her, I get so much anxiety going to coach class now. Like, I just don't think that I am like her, and I don't think that I have the coaching presence that I want. And she said, why do you feel like you need to be like her? Why do you feel like you need to copy what she does? Why don't you just bring your own energy? Why don't you be yourself and find your own coaching voice? Her telling me that gave me confidence that day. And I came in with such a different energy. And before going into the gym, I did a little prayer and I just asked that my authenticity is enough. And I asked that, my real self can come through and those who will appreciate that will stay. So I go into class that day with such a different energy. And I even go in early and I put together my own playlist, something that genuinely I listen to and that I get pumped up by, which is, Nicki Minaj. We love Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. Instead of trying to speak to everyone at once, I go and I make individual rounds. And that's my power, I think, is getting to know people on a one-on-one level before we get into a group setting, because I do feel intimidated by a group setting. That's what I did. And slowly over time, I started to build individual connections with people and just gain more confidence as a coach. I started using my own lingo and my own humor. I let that come through. People will leave, and that is totally fine. Let people leave and let your authenticity be enough to attract the people that are meant to be in your class and meant to be in your community and your group. And it's crazy now because when people sub for my classes, there's 2 other coaches. We're all different. We all bring something different to the table and we don't try to be like each other. And when they sub my class, they say, your girls are such a reflection of you. I will get people come up to me after class and say, you're my favorite instructor, or I love your coaching style. I love how you push me. It's not to bash any other coach, because the other coaches have girls that like them better. So it's just all preference. But the bottom line is let people leave and let people find you and appreciate your authenticity. Let the right people come and appreciate your authenticity. Now, I want to go into ways to perform an inauthenticity detox. First step is not people pleasing. Where in your life are you people pleasing? And are you aware that people pleasing is actually counterproductive? Because for me, when I people please, I am spreading myself thin. I am trying to accommodate all of these different requests or these different opinions and personality types. And then I don't leave room for my own voice or my own opinion. And people respect boundaries. People respect other people that stand firm in their beliefs. Obviously, you don't want to be unadaptable. You want to be able to take in new opinions, but you should be able to stand firm on your beliefs and your boundaries and set that in the beginning. That attracts people with not only with their own boundaries themselves. And so we, have that mutual respect, but also people that want to have boundaries. They see that and they get empowered by that. Like, oh, it's that easy to say no. And one of my favorite quotes is, no is a complete sentence. You don't need to explain further all the time about why your decision is a no. You're not going to be able to please everyone. That is literally impossible. You could grow the most perfect, ripe green avocado, right? And hand it to your friend. What if she says, oh no, I don't like avocados, but I like apples? You're not going to be like, oh, let me try to make this an apple for you. No, you give it to someone who's going to appreciate the avocado. And that's the same for yourself. So set boundaries, understand where are you people pleasing and how can you say no, okay? Just say no. No is a complete sentence. In line with that, what settings do you feel low vibrational energy in? What settings, what environments do you feel anxious in or not like you can be yourself in? And how can you remove yourself from those situations? Or maybe in my instance, even though coaching classes was causing me anxiety, I didn't want to remove myself from those classes, but I wanted to change how I approached those classes. So even again, saying a little prayer or saying an affirmation of, it's safe for me to be myself. It's safe for me to be seen. Reminding yourself that you are enough as you are and your ideas are valid and you have something to offer. You don't have to be like a mold. It's crazy because I feel like we see movies such as the movie Soul. It is clear as a viewer that going with society is not always the right decision. And we can see it from like an outward view. But then when you're in it, you feel so stuck in it and you feel like you have to go with what everyone else is doing, go with the crowd. But where can you follow your own calling? Where can you make your own decisions about something, even something small? Like I've been practicing my decision making by whenever I have a free day, I say, okay, this day I am going to make decisions for me and not worry about anything else, anyone else's opinion. This is why solo dates are super important, because you get to just purely make decisions for yourself. And that helps you be able to act on making decisions more confidently. And I heard this tip on TikTok for making decisions. She said that, say if you have decision 1, decision 2, and you don't know which one to make, in your mind, you flip a coin, and right before the coin lands, whatever thought you have, whichever like decision you have is the one you should go with, because that's subconsciously what you want to happen. Next, being able to identify your strengths as part of your inauthenticity detox. It's easy to kind of want to fit in with a certain crowd. Again, that goes into the people pleasing, the tribe mentality of, you want to be accepted by a group, so you conform to the group. We don't need to do that for survival anymore. So where do you have your own individuality? How can you identify what strengths you have and what you like about yourself? My ability to connect with people on a one-on-one level is one of my strengths, and to see people and to see the potential in a single person, I lean into that. So where do you have your own strengths? What do you feel like you're good at or you're interested in? Things that light you up, even topics, right? I think this is also a safe place to explore, because your interests do not need to be like everybody else's, and your strengths are going to be different from those around you. And that's the point. And like, we're all here for a different reason, and we all have a spark within us. And so it's about how can we give ourselves the confidence and the permission to explore that and to not feel like you have to do what everybody else is doing. Even the question as to why are you doing the things that you're doing? Is it because you genuinely want to be doing it, or is it because you think that you have to be? And that was one of the questions that my dad asked me when I said I wanted to go to medical school. He would just keep asking me why. And I was getting so offended by it. But I think he saw something that I didn't, which was me just going to medical school for me was thinking that I had to for society reasons and wanting that external validation. So understanding that that is acting from a place of inauthenticity when you're trying to do things just for the external praise, or you're trying to do things because society tells you to do it, but that's not actually what you want to do. That is all inauthentic. And living an inauthentic life is just going to continue to create resistance. And I think a great measurement of acting authentically, or a great assessment of whether or not you are, is understanding how you're feeling inside. When I'm authentic, life moves so much easier. Things happen easier. I feel less resistance. I honestly feel like time moves slower in a good way, and I'm not feeling rushed. Get to the root of your decisions and be able to allow yourself to pivot. You're not having to be stuck in a certain path just because you made it. And say you made a decision from your inauthentic self. Why should you have to be stuck with that for the rest of your life? If you are committing to becoming the most authentic version of you, then that means allowing yourself to undo things, to unlearn things, and to try different paths. Because now you are acting from a place of, I want this for me, or I'm giving myself validation now. And that leads me to my last point. Learning how to overcome that fear of judgment will help you meet your most authentic self. This comes from, like we talked about, making your own decisions and trusting that honestly, being yourself is enough, and the right people are going to come to you. And when we are vibrating at a high energy, obviously the low energy people are not going to like that. And so they're going to move away from you. And it's going to feel isolating in that time, like how it felt very isolating having people leave my class. But I was bringing a different energy, a different frequency. So I needed to just trust that. In the short term, it feels like rejection, but in the long term, I am building a foundation for myself. Like I am rooted in my authenticity. And then the right people come and I feel happy with who is attracted to me. I feel like this is my community. But if I was to go back to the energy that was not me and I was trying to be this, and even if those people ended up staying because on the surface it looks like that's me, and that wouldn't feel good to me. And I would just feel like I am not living life to the fullest. I am not living life authentically and I'm having to hide who I am. I let those people go. And again, it feels isolating. You feel like you're alone for a minute and maybe a long minute. But then slowly people start to come and you form those connections. Literally, it takes a single person to show you that you are on the right path, or to show you that there's other people that are aligned with you. And I think in the meantime, that's where it's important to give yourself that your own validation and say, no, I am doing an inauthenticity detox. So I know what comes with that. I know that that means maybe losing friendships, maybe doors closing that I once was so excited about, but now I know that I'm not aligned with that. Trust yourself. Trust that you have everything within you. You have all the tools. You don't need to ask anyone else's opinion to start. Just look within. Take that time for yourself. Ask yourself, where are you people pleasing and how can you set boundaries? Create days, self-care days where you can make decisions purely for yourself and there's less pressure of trying to please certain people. Identify your strengths, your unique abilities and what really sets you apart, and think about how you can lean into that. And lastly, overcome that fear of judgment by trusting that the right people will come when you are being yourself, and it will all pay off in the end. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope this resonated. I hope you were able to take something from this. If you enjoyed this video and this episode, you'll definitely enjoy this one. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Also follow my Instagram, Not Overthinking It podcast. And I'm also on Spotify if you like to listen in the car. Until next week, see you.